All right, so another cool brand coming out of the trends camp is a brand that's really going to help you out from an installation standpoint, fabrication standpoint as well. Lots of cool, unique products. Many. I'm part of this camp, so I'm the first to admit. Thought it was, a one or two product kind of line, and boy, was I wrong. Coming back to help us out with that, of course, is Grant McFadder from Trends Electronics.
Hey Ben, halfway there, buddy. You're halfway
it's you
there
again.
On day one.
It's you again.
I'm like a bad rash.
I'm not even ready to come back on any of these. Okay, we're gonna bring back Alan Hulsebus because he's a smart dude, and he's gonna shift gears because obviously we know he knows about speakers and speaker dynamics and all these great things like X-Max and everything he likes to talk about. But I think he also likes to talk about this brand and this product lineup from Blackhole. What is Blackhole for those that don't know, Grant?
They have a number of different products. Most of it's centered around sound, making your sound, improving the sound quality of the products we're putting in the car. I mean, we've seen a bunch of stuff today where it's subwoofers and speakers, and we're putting it into an environment that's not designed for great audio. We got a tin can with glass everywhere. It's not the greatest application for high fidelity. So, one of my biggest pet peeves when I was installing stuff or not installing, but selling products and having people come up was the rattling of the car. You pull up to the stoplight and the trunks are rattling, license plates buzzing. It just took away from the experience of the audio side. So Blackhole's got a number of products with sound deadening, acoustic damping for your doors, for your trunk, every panel in your car essentially, and there's some wraps and tapes. There's a lot of guys doing some really cool high-end installations and making it look like it's factory. So your tapes and your wraps are matching what the OEMs are doing.
So if you guys never knew where these wraps and tapes might have been coming from, here's one of those sources. So let's go ahead and bring on Alan. Mr. Hulsebus, nice to have you back again.
Howdy, gentlemen. Glad to be here.
I see you did a quick change of t-shirt. Now you're wearing a Blackhole. Oh, no, wait. You were wearing a Blackhole t-shirt before.
Yeah.
That was just an illusion.
Oh!
In those 5 minutes, I take a quick shower.
No time to mess around. Let's dive right into it. Let's dig into the black hole of all things.
All right. Well, we got about 20 minutes here, so we're going to cruise quickly. But in a nutshell, the whole problem here is your car has non-ideal acoustics. It's often been said that the single largest distortion in your stereo system is the room. And I can tell you from experience, if you measure a speaker at 1 inch, looks pretty nice, looks like music. You pull back to 1 meter, it's like, well, it still looks like a speaker, but I can see some issues. Pull back to 3 meters, you're like, that's not a speaker. What is that? I don't recognize it anymore. Well, in the car, it's far worse because you can pull back just 1 foot from the speaker and now you can't recognize it anymore, let alone from the driver's seat, which makes it very difficult for your tuning. So what you need to do is go after the source of the problem that's causing it, and that would be the reflections, the rattles, and the noise. So we've got 4 different angles that we attack the problem from. 1 is the Blackhole tile. 2 is the Blackhole 5 material for treating the insides of boxes. Then Blackhole mat to go after the metal problem, and then Blackhole stuff to deal with the acoustics inside of cavities, like inside of a sealed box. First up is our Blackhole tile. This was developed from a high-end home audio product that we sold called Blackhole 5, which I'll have in the next slide. But essentially what we've done is we've packaged it so you can stick it through the little small cutout holes in the door of your car. So on the front face, the outside has been coated with a rubberized material to prevent water from getting into the acoustic foam that's on the inside. It's made up of 5 layers. It's very squishy. So we got a top layer of roughly 1 inch of acoustical foam to deal with the mid-range and the high-frequency reflections. And then we've got a barrier floating on 6 millimeters that controls the sound coming from behind it, from like behind a panel through the tire noise, engine noise, things like that. But it greatly extends the low frequency response of the 1 inch acoustic foam. So we can get down into the low mid-range frequencies. And then on the very back side, where you bond directly to the steel of the car, we've added a damper. So you don't have to use a separate sheet of the butyl foil, because that would be extremely difficult to get inside your car door, reaching through those tiny little holes. The standard size is 4 inches by 3 inches by 1.5 inch thick, and it comes in a box of 18, 40, or 72 pieces. 18 pieces will let you do 2 doors directly behind the woofer itself, the 6.5. 72 pieces will let you do the entire door panel on both sides. And I can test from several people that have put this in the doors. The door doesn't sound like steel anymore. It's about as dead as knocking your hand on a tree. It just stops the resonance of the source. So that means there's less road noise coming into your car. If I can drop the noise level by 3 decibel, that's like doubling your amplifier power. If I can drop the noise by 6 decibel, that's like having 4 times your amplifier power. Or you could say I can turn down the volume so I'm not stressing the amplifier. I'm not stressing my ears. I have better fidelity all the time. Blackhole 5 is the same product, but in a larger sheet of 12 inches by 18 inches. And this is to go inside of a speaker box. This is your go-to material for a vented box. You line all the walls of the enclosure, either subwoofer or mid-bass. We have several high-end home audio companies using this product. We're talking speakers that start at around $30,000 and price out to over $200,000. Some really serious people that test everything on Earth, and they found that this is the best available to them. So they're using it in all the cabinets. And some of these cabinets are just nuts. 3/4 inch aluminum plate.
Sorry, Alan, I got to ask a question here because I'm just too curious. How much is a sheet of 1218 Grant retail? Sorry to ask you that.
Single sheet's $100 Canadian retail.
Okay. And how many of these would you need for an
18
enclosure?
inches by 12.
Would you
Well,
need
it's
like
1 foot by 1.5 feet, so it depends on how big your enclosure is. But probably 2 sheets, 3 sheets would maybe do a full, two cubic foot box.
Okay. And the other question was, do you have to do every surface on the inside?
And it looks a lot prettier than polyester fiberfill too. I mean, if you do
Right.
a plexiglass window or something, right?
The minimum would be to hit 3 opposite walls. So say a back, a bottom, and a right side.
Okay.
So then you're grabbing the slat back arrow that's bouncing from flat plane to flat plane.
Okay.
And that'll half of the treatment will give you 3/4 of the benefit.
Gotcha. All right.
All right. Next up, Blackhole mat. So this is a base layer of butyl rubber loaded with quartz, and then on top of that's a layer of aluminum foil of the correct thickness, and on top of that, roughly 1/4 inch of a closed cell acoustic foam, so it doesn't absorb water. Now, you've all used something similar to this, I'm sure, but we like this material, especially on the inner door skin. That would be the door panel that's got all the holes in it that you just put your Blackhole tile through. So you need to seal up all those holes airtight so your woofer's not leaking to the front side of the car like a dipole. 1 or 2 layers, so you have the high density of this material, and also the very high damping. So you dampen the steel, you dampen the air, and then the foam is on top is really important because inside that door there's going to be wires, control rods that can touch this, even the plastic of the inner door. So that foam makes sure that you don't have any buzzes after you've done your installation. It's the butyl rubber category from every manufacturer, if it's true pure butyl rubber, is the highest known damping material for metal. And it's available from everybody at different thicknesses and different stiffnesses depending on how you need to use it in your application. We chose to go relatively thin and maximum flexibility because very rarely do you have a flat panel. You've got all kinds of crazy shapes, domes, spheres, dimples, divots, and you need to be able to stretch and conform to it. So really, you're choosing your compromises. So it does have an extremely broad temperature range, minus 54 C to 150 C. So quite a bit hotter than boiling water. The sunlight will never be hot enough to attack it. Low-cost products in the market add asphalt to the blend. Those are the things that you see that drip and ooze and stink. So when you
Right.
smell this, there's no odor. It comes in a large sheet, 508 millimeters by 207 millimeters. That's enough. 20 inches by 79 inches. That's enough to do your 2 front doors. And you can knock yourself out with this because there's any surface that you can get to put it on is going to reduce your buzz and your rattle, your door skin, your floors, especially your headliner, because you'd be amazed how much road noise comes from your roof flexing in the low bass and mid bass. And it's also great for separating the trunk from the front of the car. So you can apply it either to the back seats or to that sheet metal area after you've removed the seat cushion. Blackhole stuff is a pretty amazing material. It's made out of 100% cotton with over 85% recycled content. It's treated with natural minerals to prevent mold, fungus, mildew, bacteria, and pests. And it also makes it Class A flame retardant, which is good enough for aircraft, which are extremely stringent because, as you can imagine, a fire in an airplane, where do you go? You're trapped. It had better be well behaved when it catches on fire. This, as a cotton material, at this density, we've measured everything on the market. Popular choices would be wool, acoustical foam, polyfill, fiberglass. Per weight, per thickness, this has the highest damping material by far for dropping the resonance frequency and reaching to lower frequencies. I've got a graph coming up that'll dramatically show you how big the problem is and how underperforming other products are compared to cotton. It holds its shape and thickness over time because cotton is a long fiber material. It's made in USA. It's 5.5 inches thick, and it's available in 24 by 24 inch sheets, or by the 5.5 or 12 by 12s. And we sell it. We pack it as a 1 sheet, a 2 sheet, or a 12 sheet, depending on your need. This is your go-to for sealed boxes and for mid ranges. You'll fill the cabinet approximately 50% full. And be prepared for some amazingly clean bass. Here's some details on it. We took a Focal 27 V2 and we put it in 0.68 cubic foot sealed box. In the free air, it resonated at 43 hertz with a Q of 0.56. Now let's put it into an empty box. In this particular box volume, the resonance frequency rose from 43 to 55, and the QTS rose from 0.56 to 0.87, as you would expect. Now let's line that cabinet with polyester, 1-inch polyester. It's also called BAF, B-A-F, for bonded acoustic fiber. Notice that in frequency, or the resonance frequency was barely noticeable, and the QTS is barely noticeable. The effective box increased from 0.68 cubic feet to 0.75 cubic feet. So we really didn't do anything at all from a subwoofer standpoint. In fact, even as a mid-range, it's pretty worthless. It's not doing anything. Now, if we go to polyfiber, and if you put it in at the rate of 1 pound per cubic foot, which is the optimum density to get the highest possible damping out of it, our resonance frequency drops from 55.8 to 53.3. Now that's useful. We go from 0.87 Q to 0.79 Q. Very useful. Our minus 3 decibel went from 47 to 46. Minor change, but the Q is the big thing here. And our apparent volume increased from 0.68 to 0.88. So what I'm saying here is if you had an empty box of 0.88 cubic feet, it would have exactly the same frequency and Q as this smaller box does with polyfiber at an optimum. Now let's go to Blackhole stuff. The single layer, notice we've already dropped our resonance frequency. And when we go to a double layer, which is about 50% full, we've dropped from 55.8 empty to 52. Notice that we're well ahead of our polyester. Our Q is now 0.78. And effectively, to get this resonance and that Q, it would be like having a 1 cubic foot empty box. But we're able to do it with 0.68 cubic feet. So our box appears to be 47% bigger. because all that resonant energy was turned into heat by this high density cotton fabric. I didn't put fiberglass on here, but it behaves about like the 1-inch polyester. You can barely see any effect at all. And of course, who wants to deal with that itching?
Can I ask a question right here, Alan?
Yes.
I mean, this seems like there's going to be quite a bit of volume that's going to be taken up by this stuff once you put it in.
Yes.
So does that mean that this would only be optimized for a box that you're building, accounting for this displacement? Or what if I just wanted to add to an existing box that I had?
Right. Well, usually the problem is you're stuck. I got a hole this big, and the woofer is going to go there no matter what. Mm-hmm. So I often see guys building boxes with a Q of 1.2, 1.5, and this is how you take that out of control resonance and pull a Q of 1.1 down to a Q of 0.9, which is now musical.
There's not a single piece of electronics you can buy for $20 that will do what this stuff does.
Well, and electronics
can't. $20 for a sheet.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And electronics can't do what this does. Like you say, well, I've got too much loudness at the resonance frequency, right? So you grab the equalizer down and you pull it down. Well, it's less loud, but the ringing of the bell didn't stop.
No,
you're just hitting the bell less hard.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the only way to go after it. Sealed box, it's your friend. And you can also use it in free areas of the car. I've seen people put it up underneath the dash. On the sides of the rear seat, there's usually like an arm cushion, but between the arm cushion and the steel fender behind it, there's usually a big air gap where you can put some more stuffing in here. You see some OEM cars will have a felt version of this material, usually about a 1/2 inch thick on the firewall.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, this is almost like a very, very important add to any sealed box, sealed enclosure setup.
And on a vented box, the maximum you can go is 25% of the volume. If you go to 50%, the port will stop resonating. Literally, you won't be able to see it detected in the impedance curve. So you can use it as a tuning aid. Say my port, I built my box, I'm done, but it's just a little bit boomy at the port frequency. Put in a little bit of stuff and listen to it. And that's the way how you can tune the Q of the vented box.
Now there's no adhesive on one side of this, right?
No, it's too low of a density for an adhesive to work.
So you just put it in?
Just sit in there, let it float. It's not going to hurt anything. It can touch the speaker. You don't want to fill the box 100% full because you still need room for the woofer cone to move and the air to compress the box and access the material.
Very unique. Okay.
And to show you just how far this can go,
just for a time check, Alan, you have about 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll go fast. Okay, on the left side here, green line is an empty box. Purple line is, this one here in the middle is polyfiber, and this line here is Blackhole stuff. So you can see the height of the peak drop, that's your Q. The frequency drop, that's your FC, resonance frequency of the box. Very aggressive. Frequency response wise, the golden line on the top is a empty box, and then polyfiber and Blackhole stuff. Now the first thing you say, hey, I lost efficiency. Did I? What I lost is the echo that makes it sound louder but prevents me from understanding the words. Articulation of consonants, the beat of the music. Do you want to hear the beat or you want to hear the boom of the room? You've all been to concerts, right? You can't hear the band on stage no matter how loud they're playing. You can't make out any words. That's acoustic echoes and resonance. That's this efficiency that went away here. We're actually letting you hear the music instead of hearing the noise.
So it improves your articulation of consonants.
Correct.
It's easy for you guys to say.
Excellent memory.
Told you I'm paying attention.
Excellent. This is acoustic foam. Variable thicknesses. This is 1/2 inch, and as we go into thickness, this is 1,000 hertz. As we go thicker, it absorbs more sound and goes deeper in the bass. Beyond 2 inches thick, you gain nothing with acoustic foam because the sound can't penetrate in the material. But the Blackhole stuff goes all the way down to almost 100 hertz flat line. And the Blackhole tile and Blackhole 5, we can get this 2-inch curve while using the thinner 1-inch material, because you have very limited space to work with. So somehow we need to increase the base, and that's what that floating diaphragm in the middle does. We don't have enough time, so we'll skip over this. These slides are available for anyone that wants them, so you can get more detail. But just let me quickly point out here, 10 decibel is 1/2 the loudness to your ear. A Q of sound coefficient of 1 is 12 decibels of noise reduction. And a coefficient of 0.5 is 6 decibels of noise reduction. So when you're looking at these graphs, pay attention to that. Here's Blackhole 5. Notice we're nearly 1 all the way across. Acoustic foam, we don't have any low frequency absorption. 1-inch foam does essentially nothing in the low frequency, but we're absorbing highs. So if someone's talking to you and you absorb only the high frequencies, but the low frequencies mumble on, well, that's exactly what they sound like. They're mumbling and you can't understand the articulation. So that's when you want something that absorbs equally at all frequencies. And that's what we're trying to go after in all of these products. Fire. So we have a variety of Blackhole tapes. We don't have time to talk about that right now, but wraps, tapes, paint protection. Give us a call. We'll give you full details on this.
I'm sure Trends would be, and Grant would be happy to send you the full catalog if you just put an inquiry out there.
Yes, sir. And we may have some specials on those for our dealers as well. So again, we'll get our reps to get that information out to you.
All right, Alan, we might in hindsight maybe we should have booked an hour for this one, but we did get a lot of information, and I think that was a little bit of a game changer moment with that product that might be new for a couple dealers. I know it was for me, so thank you for bringing that.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
And thanks for getting up so early this morning and doing this. I appreciate it.
It's not unusual.
All right, Alan,
now, okay, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. Take care.
Take care.
Yeah, man. So tools to improve your sound, tools for installation, and well, I think everybody knows how important sound dampening materials are in general. But it's nice to see the offering that Blackhole has, a little bit different take.
Yeah, simple products that make a big difference at the end. That's really what the message is it doesn't take a lot of money to make a big difference. And if you want to separate yourself from the guys that aren't doing this is the product to use it with.
If I went to a dealer, if I was a customer, right, and I went to one of our dealers, and that dealer showed me that for that little bit of money extra, this is what it would sound like different, I would appreciate that. I mean, sometimes it's those little things that make me trust and build that relationship, right?
And it's important to show it, because if they don't buy right on the spot and they go to the next store and they don't talk about it,
how come he didn't show me? But that guy did.
That guy must be.
Exactly. You got it, sir.
Back to those guys.
Grant, see you on the next one, bud.
See you next, buddy.
There you have it. Blackhole products. Thank you, Alan, for coming on and sharing that with us. It was a quick session, and another great product out of the line card from Trends Electronics. I'm your host, Ben Wu, for CMA Industry Week. Until next time, we connect.